Hey, welcome to the Stargazy Brief. Today we are talking to George, who is the founder and CEO of OneUp. He has a background in cybersecurity. He has already founded and sold a cybersecurity company where they responded to RFPs, security questionnaires, DDQs, you name it, on a daily basis. They understood how tough it was to respond to RFPs, and on the back of that, built OneUp. If you don't already follow them for the memes alone, go do it. The main thing you're going to get out of this conversation today is, number one, how your RFPs are genuinely being evaluated nowadays. Because of their software, they have the data around this, so it's important to listen. Number two is the proposal tech feature that you're probably seeing all the time, but is actually worse for your responses, so pay attention. And number three, his take on qualification is nuanced. I don't agree with him, but it's worth listening to because he makes some really valid points of how we should be changing our qualification process. I hope you enjoy listening to this as much as I had speaking with George, one of the coolest people in our industry. Hey, George, how are you? Thank you so much for being a part of the Stargazy Brief. I'm really excited to have you here.
I am so happy to start my day with this.
Yeah, of course. I've been wanting to talk to you because, of course, OneUp is, it's almost impossible to not see OneUp on LinkedIn just because of your branding is incredibly fun. You have memes and blog posts that are exceptionally relevant to the space. But obviously, you came from a very different background from proposals. Like, you came from cybersecurity. Like, of course, you have to then respond to a bunch of security questionnaires. And I'm assuming that's your background and how you got into this in the first place.
Yeah, you nailed it. So before OneUp, I was the founder and CEO of Hyper. It's a cybersecurity company where we raised 100 million. We deployed passwordless authentication worldwide. It was a really fun space. The problem with that industry is you get a ton of RFPs, DDQs, questionnaires for every little thing. And they're a nightmare to fill out. As you know, they take forever and they're very technical. And I think the worst experience I ever had was we spent 2 weeks filling one out for like a Fortune 100 company. And on the last day, we opened the answers tab that was hidden and we found that our competitors' answers were pre-filled. The customer had forgotten to remove them. So this was like a mind-blowing experience for us. We didn't even want to submit a proposal after that. And that was the genesis for me thinking like, wow, wouldn't it be great if this was just automated?
Yeah, and I know that the vast majority of people listening to this have had a similar experience to that, where they've found out quite literally while reading the proposal that it was baked for somebody else, like quite literally written by a competitor. Uh, that kind of leads me to a hot topic question, and that is, do you really think that should have been a response that was automated or one that you just shouldn't have responded to in the first place? Or is there some third option that you think would have been the best way to go?
So I have a hot take on this. I don't think there are any opportunities you should not respond to. We ended up winning that account.
Whoa, okay, take me down that story.
We were not the preferred vendor. We lost that RFP cycle. It was never meant for us to win. But engaging with the customer, we started cultivating a champion there so that when that competitor came up for renewal, we were fast tracked into displacing them. They had never fully deployed. People hated using the tool. It was way overpriced. And because we had built that relationship, we were just slotted in. We had deployed within weeks after that. We ended up winning that deal. They're still a customer to this day of Hyper. And what I would say is the reason for that is because we didn't just sit there and go, we're not responding to this. We did respond to it. And my argument for automation is if you're in a world where these responses are automated, you can take on more of these opportunities that you feel are really poorly qualified or you're not going to win them. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? They're going to remember you a year from now. Like, I really don't believe in the decline to respond kind of experience. Yeah, that's my hot take.
Do you think that is true for most of these RFP responses, most of these proposals, or do you think it's for a particular industry?
I think it's for a particular sales org.
Okay, talk to me about
If
that
you
one.
have a sales org that's front and center, cultivating champions, they're out there, they're building relationships, and they're going to get an RFP now and again that's not for them. But you can maneuver around that. You can win the deal later. You can make friends at this company. They'll call you when stuff breaks, right? So the common the common experience is I'm on a proposal team. I got something. The SE, the AE may not have ever even interfaced with that prospect. You're 100% right that you shouldn't respond to that. You're just DD fodder at that point, right?
Yeah.
But if you have an account executive engaged in the deal, why not? Like, I really don't see the downside of it if there's automation. Certainly, if you have to stop what you're doing and do this manually, and you're definitely going to lose. That's a different story altogether, which is why I go back to my point of if it's automated, if you've got a sales team that's qualifying these things, you should not decline to respond. There's no downside to it.
Yeah. Do you think there's anything else besides just responding to an RFP that, an AE has some relationship with? Like, is it just the response or is there something else that they should be doing, like follow ups? What do you think the best practice is here?
Well, any good AE knows to make a friend, not a customer. A good, great AE, the best ones I've seen, they're friends with the customers
Yeah.
throughout the cycle. They stay friends with them through the lost deal. You know what I mean? Like a
Yeah.
great account executive cultivates that relationship, loses the deal, still hangs out with that person. They still stay in touch. That's how they win the deal later. So I think you almost have to remove the proposal from that process. And my one liner would be proposal teams should start thinking a little more like an AE, and AEs should start building those relationships with their proposal teams because right now things are kind of on an island. So when I say this to a proposal person, they're like, I don't even know my AEs. Like, why would I
Yeah.
believe that they can maneuver this? And I think that's a shame.
I always have enjoyed my role so much better when I'm closely embedded within the sales team personally, and I feel a part of the team. So as somebody who obviously sells quite a bit, has been a CEO more than once, what do you think proposal people can be doing to make friends? I mean, maybe this is an obvious thing, but honestly, it doesn't feel obvious sometimes. How can we make friends with our sales team?
Well, how can you make friends with the sales team?
Yeah, how can we be buddies?
Bring them leads.
Okay,
No, I'm
fair.
serious. You know how sales teams make fun of marketing? It's like a meme, like the
Oh yeah,
sales yeah, marketing never does anything. I think if the proposal team helped with sourcing a bit, that doesn't mean go out there and like bring an opportunity. I don't think most proposal teams are set up for that. But I
yeah,
think if the proposal team was a little bit in like, on the stand-ups, asking the reps, "Hey, can I look through your pipeline? Can I see what you're working on? Maybe I know someone in that account?" I think if you just build that casual relationship, you'll make a friend on the sales org, right? And then when the time comes up and the sales rep says, "Hey, I'm working Bank of America, right? Do you know anyone there?" You never know, dude. A proposal person might know a procurement person they've worked with in the past, right? So
yeah.
I think communication is key, and a lot of it's lacking because what you have with these RFP teams is they're on an island somewhere, and then the sales team is out in the field, and you got to bridge that gap. And it's actually very easy to do. You ever been to a sales kickoff? Did you find
Yeah, I'm an old lady. Yeah, I've been to a lot.
did you
Yeah.
find them valuable use of your time?
No, not at all.
Really?
No, so I mean this I'll be quite honest with you. I was always friends with my sales team anyway, but it really wasn't meant for me. But it really was all about like finding like how they can find leads and the email flow they need to have. And it was almost like SDR level stuff. And so to me that was not of interest.
So I think what I've seen in a lot of accounts is when I talk to people, I'm like, hey, your sales kickoff's coming up. Are you all going out there? And the proposal team has nothing to do with it. And it's almost like, wait a minute, you're helping them win these deals. Sometimes you're helping them source these deals. Why aren't you in Miami with your sales team or wherever? Right.
Yeah.
Because in my experience, some of the best relationships are built at these events. And that's where you pull in marketing. That's where you pull in people who aren't necessarily closing deals. And it would be awesome to see some proposal managers at these events. So if you're listening to this and you have an SKO coming up, go to your boss right now and demand that you be included and maybe bring one of your proposal people with you.
No, I completely agree with you on that. Like that is the place to build relationships. And I agree that because proposal people are stuck in one role, but we have to talk with so many people within the company that we should be the bridge with all of these people. And any chance we get to make friends with them is a good way. But I love the idea of bringing leads to people because I've never thought about that before.
Yeah, why are
That's
proposal
really
people just
clever.
sitting there waiting for stuff to come in? Go out there and help the sales team, man. I think everybody in the company should be a salesperson at the end of the day. So yeah, I think there's a lot of room there. And maybe some proposal person listens to this and says, hey, I do think if I looked at my sales reps pipeline, I might be able to help them with the contacts.
Yeah, I'm with you, George. I love that. And I'm gonna go back up to OneUp because obviously you built this tool because you
Well,
thought there was a
I didn't build
problem.
it myself, like some really smart people, but
Yes. No, I'm sure you weren't just like in your basement just coding it out. But I am thinking though that you built it because like there are other proposal tech tools out there. Like you're not the first one out there, but you did see that there was a need. Obviously, when you were responding to these RFPs that you weren't going to win, you thought I need to automate this. But once again, there are other ones that do automate it. So I'm wondering like what was the bet that you were making on OneUp to be the true differentiator in a market?
well, I had a tool when I was at Hyper.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say who it was. It was one of the big RFP tools, and we
Yeah.
ended up churning out of it.
Right.
And I also had a sales enablement tool. So I had an RFP tool, a sales enablement tool, and a knowledge management tool.
Mm.
I think we were spending like 100K plus on all three annually. And at the end of this 1-2 year cycle, my head of sales engineering was like, dude, we haven't automated anything. We're still getting questions from the AEs that we can't answer. We're still filling out RFPs and questionnaires manually. And I spend all day maintaining the knowledge base. When I get an RFP, I have to go in and review the Q&A from past RFPs. And I spend more time doing that than filling out the new one. How do I rationalize this? So the idea with OneUp was that it's not that the RFP process is broken. I think the RFP process from some of these tools is fantastic. Like they've done a really good job of project managing it. I didn't think that that's what was missing. I thought what was missing was a knowledge automation tool for the sales org. I think that you can buy all of these tools in the sales stack, the knowledge management stuff, the enablement stuff, the prospecting stuff, the RFP management stuff, and you still end up with reps asking questions in Slack every day. So the vision with OneUp wasn't just let's automate RFP, it was let's automate knowledge for the GTM org, make every product question answerable, and a workflow you build on top of that is RFP automation. So I hope that gives you an idea of like how we were thinking about it differently. Because to your
Yeah.
point, not only weren't we the first, we weren't the fifth, sixth, seventh, or even the 10th. There were so many tools out there at the time.
What's the biggest bet your product makes about how proposals should work, and how is that different from how most teams operate?
Self service. I think that proposals in the future, or at least these questionnaires, and you see this with our Trust Hub product at OneUp. I'm not trying to plug it. I'm just saying, like, the vision for Trust Hub was, can you self serve some of these answers?
Right.
So when a customer comes into your pipeline and you know they're going to send you a questionnaire, why can they not just upload that questionnaire to a customer facing page like the OneUp Trust Hub and you get it? It's pre analyzed for you. You can take a look at it. You can decide if you want to respond or not. But potentially, you could just say automate, and it should automate the answers for you. I think there's a huge opportunity for inverting this process and making it self service. Because we have that with a lot of other aspects of the GTM experience, right? Like customers can ask support questions all day. They're very rarely talking to a human. Customers can read your website and get all kinds of marketing and docs about your products and stuff. But when it comes to filling out a questionnaire, they have to send it to an AE. The AE has to stop what they're doing, read it, go get a proposal person, a security person, maybe someone else, get a green light to fill it out. That whole thing is crazy. Like, that's a very legacy process. Why can't we let the customer upload that questionnaire and maybe just say, okay, answer this and get answers? So I think that's one behavior. If that's what you were looking for, I don't know if that was a question you were asking, but I think that's
No,
one
I'm
behavior.
curious.
Yeah, that's going to change over the next, I think, months.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I am seeing this quite a bit now, but I'm wondering what types of customers you're seeing this with. Is it a specific industry, a size of company, or is it across the board?
I don't think it's a type of customer, it's a type of proposal. Functional requirements, structured questionnaires, stuff that's not free form narrative, that's a great candidate for this use case. Stuff that's like 100-page PDF that, you have to absorb and then build your own book out of, that's not a good candidate.
Who do you think should be owning these trust hubs?
The sales org. I
When
think
like oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I think the sales org lacks a customer facing automation experience.
But like within like the internal sales team, who do you think should be the person or the process to make sure that the trust hub stays
The most
updated? What does that look like?
Yeah, so I think we're writing a post about this. I'll send it to you in a few days. It's called "The
Yeah.
Rise of the Knowledge Engineer," and the knowledge engineer is an interesting role that we've started seeing following the rise of RAG-based systems, knowledge automation systems, AI systems. If you talk to all of our customers, they have someone internally who's handling the AI.
Yeah.
They might be a different person on different teams. Like there's an HR department, someone there uses their HR AI. There's a marketing team. They've got 10 different AI tools, but somebody is delegated to be the AI person, right? So I think the knowledge engineer in the sales context tends to be solutions people. They're very technical. They want that job. They love working with these systems. I've got some scenarios where it's the AEs. And here's what's
Mm.
crazy about it. In 10 years ago, if you said, hey, account execs are going to be maintaining AI knowledge systems, people would have laughed at you. Yeah, they would have been
Sure.
like, "What are you talking about? I can't get my AE to update Salesforce." But we actually have that today in some of our accounts. So I hope that answers your question. I think 90% are solutions teams. maybe 10% are AEs. And let's not discount the RFP folks. Some of them do maintain the AI, but I do think the source of truth in a lot of these orgs is the sales engineering and solutions team.
Yeah, let's say we have a proposal person who's like, "That's me. I want to do this." What do you think that they need to be doing to maybe get that role if it doesn't exist yet, or like it within their company, or to maybe move on and get that role somewhere else? Like, is there a specific skill set, things that they should be working on?
Yeah. No, it's the person who understands the product best. I've met proposal teams who don't understand their product at all. They're
Yeah.
glorified copy paste people, right? I've met
Right.
sales teams who don't understand the product at all.
Oh yeah.
You want someone who understands the product inside out, because if you're going to designate a knowledge engineer in your org, they have to know where the knowledge is. They have to know how to pull it together. And product knowledge is that big gap. Like, we've had knowledge management for years. It's not
Oh yeah.
cool. It's not nothing new. But product knowledge is a huge gap. And you probably know this because anytime you have a product question, you go ask a human. Can we automate that? I think, to your point, proposal people, if they want to fill that role, they just have to write it on a whiteboard. Who on our team knows the product best? And that's your person.
Yeah, I know a lot of proposal people who are obsessed with the product, probably do know it backwards and forwards. They just don't demo it. So I feel like they could probably be that person if they really wanted to be. But yeah, I think that's a really good point. Okay. And so in terms of obviously RP habits, like you're already thinking of changing up how proposals should be in general, and I'm with you on most of it. It's just, do you think there is like a specific workflow or habit that just needs to end, that they need to stop focusing on because just isn't important or isn't effective anymore?
I'm not a big believer in the go, no go part of the process. I think any good account executive knows within 5 minutes of receiving an RFP if it's qualified for them, if it's due diligence fodder, if it was made by a competitor. I don't think you need a tool to do that. I don't even think you need a process to do that. Like, there shouldn't even be a stage. I think ultimately you get it, let the AE use their gut instinct. And if they can't, I'm sorry, you need a different AE on that account. Like, they should be able to determine that. So, hot take, because I know it's built into tools. I know
Yeah.
our customers have this process, but I think the go, no go's got to go, pun intended.
Okay, so you already know that I was going to push back on this, but
Of course.
the reason why is I would love to agree with you. I would love to say that yes, it should be obvious because most of the time it is obvious, but usually there's a qualification process because they doesn't have great intuition, or they have bad pipeline, or they're just, I don't know, not the best of their job. I think we've all met AEs who aren't that great, and you almost like need that to help them make good decisions. And like it's literally there for them. It's there for the low bar A's.
But this goes, yeah. So in a perfect world, I agree with you. Yeah, it's there for the low bar AEs, and you want to be the arbiter of, like, is this qualified or not? But I come from, remember, my thesis statement is that we should respond to everything, and we should respond to everything because it's an AI reading it. It should be an AI writing it, and really, our
Right.
job is to review and make sure that it's true and it's accurate. So if it's an AI reading it and an AI writing it, why are we doing all this hand wringing around responding? That stems from a place of not wanting to burn proposal people's time. And that's a good place to be. I agree with you. You don't want to waste people's time. But if we get to this automated state, I think that goes away. I think you can let these AEs make their own decisions. I actually predict a world where customers will upload RFPs, they will fill themselves out, and you as a proposal leader simply decide. You have final cut. You decide if that's ready to go to the user. I think that's where we want to get to. And I think the go, no go part of that just goes out the window at that point.
I think you might be right in terms of the more straightforward technical requirement portion of RFPs, or if you're in that sort of industry. But at the same time, like even you don't think you should go for necessarily everything. Because before you were saying that you shouldn't go if like the AE doesn't have any sort of say with them, then you are just that fodder, right, for the procurement team. So it's and I
It's
my
bar and type of AE you're working with, of course.
Yeah. I've worked with mostly like amazing sales teams. I love them, have good relationships with them, but there are still some AEs on there who would want to respond to everything. Like these really large, complex, difficult RFPs that would not just take proposal team time, but solution consulting time, product time, finance time, legal time, all that fun stuff. And so we did have to have something to say no. And it usually was that data backed go, no go process. And without that, they would have gone for everything, no matter what.
So I guess that's where we disagree. I want them to go for everything. Like, if I could wave a magic wand, every questionnaire would be responded to, every opportunity would be taken. Even if there's a 5% lift in pipeline, I think that's worth it. But that's predicated on what you said, the type of AE, the type of RFP. If it's a free form narrative driven question kind of proposal, you're not automating that. You're not automating that today. You're not even automating that 5 years from now, in my opinion.
No. No.
So
No. Then what would you suggest to the proposal team that does genuinely want to be useful? They want to help with that pipeline, but they do have a few AEs who do want to respond to everything, and they are that low level AE. But what should they be doing there? Do you think they should still be responding to everything? It's like let's say you do have some sort of tool that does automate the response, maybe to 80%, but you still need the legal, finance, solution
yeah,
consulting team your own time, right?
yeah.
To help respond. What would you suggest to those people who still work with a sales team who does want to respond to everything and doesn't really use their intuition as well
Well,
as maybe your sales teams
I'll
do?
tell you what we see in the field. Like a lot of our customers, when they start with OneUp, they have a very rigid workflow that's built around manual process. And then
Yeah.
we talk to them 6 months in. We're like, "What has changed about your workflow?" And they're like, "Oh, I let the AE log in and upload the thing, and then I look at it. I assign questions out. I get legal to look at it. I might get security to look at it. I have final cut. The admin has final cut, but the AE has just uploaded it, and the AE gets something back." So I think the difference there is you can give these AEs self-service power now. They didn't have
Yeah.
that before. What did they have before? They have to send it to some RFP team, send it to some C, hope that it gets done. I've been in scenarios where like the AE is standing over the shoulder of the solutions consultant and like making them fill it out, you know?
Yeah.
Like we got to get away from that. So I think the big difference to your question is what would you say to those AE teams? You got to be able to upload the questionnaire, get a draft back, but someone internally, like I said earlier, it's that knowledge engineer. They have to have final cut. You don't want to give the junior BDR final cut over an RFP. They're just going to say yes to everything.
Cool. No, that answers my question.
So we
Yeah.
don't have to agree on everything. I walk around in a founder reality distortion field where some of the stuff I say sounds like complete BS. So I have to be aware of that, and you got to keep me also aware of it.
No, I love to fight. So especially about qualification. Yeah, and I'm because you do talk with so many people who are trying to purchase these tools. Do you get any pushback about AI? Do you see anything maybe even after they do after they do purchase AI that they have a hard time adopting the tool?
I actually would flip that and say we push back on AI as we sell them.
Okay.
There are cues and steps in our product where we actually educate them, almost re educate them on stuff that AI is good for and not. I'll give you some examples. We have customers who, when we engage with them and they do the one up trial and they come and they buy, they say, I was blown away at how good the answers were. But I noticed that when it answers things, it takes them small chunks at a time. And I
Yeah.
said, well, what's different about that from what you've been doing? They're like, well, I upload a file to Claude and I get back a bunch of answers, but they're not great. They're very thin. And I'm like, well, here's the thing. You're uploading a lot of information. You're
Yeah.
throwing it all into one prompt. And then you're getting back something you're unhappy with. And that's why you're going to seek out a different solution in the first place, right? These systems degrade with size. The broader the use case, the bigger the context window, the more information you're trying to shove in there, the worse they get. But to the user, they don't know this. They're getting conditioned by the model providers to think that bigger context windows better, more stuff you can load in, longer answers, whatever. It's
Yeah.
thinking for longer. Obviously, my output's going to be better. So we almost have to re-educate them that like, dude, you want small information to go in, you want small information to come out. You just want to do this 1,000 times fast. So that's a small example of like re-educating these people who've been conditioned to think that, like a bigger monitor is better. It's not. And that's because they're not from the ML world. They're not building these models.
I love that you are pushing back and you are re-educating people because I think a lot of times people are purchasing these tools and they want education. Like they know that they need to adopt AI within their go-to-market processes, but that doesn't mean they know everything. I think that they want to be able to rely on you for that knowledge and that help along the way. Like they
You're
want that from you.
feedback we hear after they start using our tool.
Yeah, yeah. I think people want that. I don't think people want to just be left to their own devices because, like you said, most people aren't. They don't have PhDs in machine learning.
Some pushback we hear is people are still unsure of how answers come together,
Mm.
and they I'll tell you like this. We're very transparent about how answers get generated. We show them the exact sources. We don't go beyond that. And people still call us sometimes and they say, "Hey, I got a bad answer. I want you to look at it." And we look at it and we're like, "Hey, brother, this is your answer that you saved." And they're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, here, look." And they're like, "Yeah, but we don't do that." I'm like, "Yeah, but this person said you do. So you've taught the AI that you do this, and now you're complaining that it's spitting it back out to you, right?" So I think a lot of these people, they push back on some of the answers that they're getting back, but then they're realizing how these answers are coming together. And I think that's simultaneously like a pushback from their part and also an education from our part. I think that's where people are starting to realize, hey, some of this stuff isn't hallucination. It's just me teaching it bad answers. So I think that that's something that not unique to OneUp. It's probably all across the board.
Yeah. So, what would you say to like go to market people who are maybe trialing out a tool like OneUp and they're getting some crappy answers back? How do they know if it's the tool that sucks or the content they're putting in that sucks?
Well, I think first ask the tool, are you going beyond my knowledge base? There are tools out there who, when they can't give you an answer from their knowledge base, they go to the web, they go to the model. That's where you have a high risk of hallucination, right? So if that's not happening, open the answer, look at the sources, read where they're coming from, and you'll see that there's something in there that's influencing. Dude, I had a customer who said that they did a certain feature that not only they don't do, they actually promote not to do, but someone at some point had uploaded information straight up lying and said that they did. And you don't want to judge them. Like, you don't want to tell them, hey, dude, you guys, you kind of fudged that answer. Now it's coming back. It's
Yeah.
like, you just got to tell them to be mindful of this stuff. And I think they're getting better at it. And I think they also have to be trained to be cautious of it because now they're thinking it's not what the AI is hallucinating. It's what did I lie about 6 months ago?
Yeah. Don't lie on your proposals, folks.
I'll give you another one. Dude, this is real bad. Have you ever asked or been told that they're pulling knowledge from Slack into these tools? We tested this. We ran it with a few customers and they came back to us and I said, well, our thesis was that it was going to be junk. And they're like, it's not only junk, it's like lethal.
Yeah, I believe
Get
that.
it out of our system. And I think that's the thing that, when customers ask us, they're like, can I pull information from my Slack logs? I'm like, dude, not only will you not pull it, if you ask, you couldn't pay us enough to do that.
Obviously, we're seeing a bunch of different features in these tools, and I'm wondering if there's one that you think is just bad and they're made up to make people feel better.
Bro, you know what I'm going to say.
I do.
How do I do this without hurting people's feelings? Confidence scoring. It's neither confident nor is it a score.
No.
This is a really common feature. You see it in old and new tools, and it demos really well. Like when people see it, they're like, whoa, there's a confidence score in my answer. Like that means high is good and low is bad. It's a great demo, right? Every customer we've talked to who has implemented it, the first time that it scores something high that's actually bad, they lose all credibility in the tool. And the reason for this, the technical reason for this is quite simple. You should never have an AI grade itself. You should never have it grade its own answers. And with a lot of these confidence scores, that's really what's happening. Here's an answer. How did I do? Or, there's some other methodology behind it, but you're asking it to grade itself. The only person who should be grading this is a human. Every junior ML engineer knows this. Every data scientist knows this. And I think with some of these tools, what you're seeing are features that demo really well and probably get customers really excited. But then when they unload that feature and they start using it, it leads to a lot of stress and it leads to like just a complete lack of credibility. So not only do I push back on confidence scoring, like I actively advocate and say like you gotta stop putting this stuff in products. Like even to our competitors, I'm like, it's not serving you. Like they start using it and they blame you for what's really the model's fault. You can't have the model grading itself. What do you think of that?
What do I think? I've always hated it for the exact same reason that you just mentioned. You're asking someone to grade themselves, and everyone's going to grade themselves better than what they are, or unless they're a certain type of human, in which case they'll grade themselves way lower. It's just we're not accurate judges of ourselves, and AI is the same way.
If you generate an answer and then I asked you to grade it and you said it was a poor answer, why'd you generate it in the first place?
Yeah, but then also, why do you think that they're doing this? Why do you think tools in general are putting confidence answers or
Confidence
scores?
scoring stems from a search based system, an era of search relevancy. Relevancy scoring at the search level is normal. You had this for years, right? You're doing sparse or dense search. You've got scores. You've ranking them, and confidence scoring comes from an era where a lot of these tools were search based, and scoring the results was totally normal. There's nothing technically invalid about that. Now you've entered an era where the answers are conversational. you've gone beyond just search and you're still applying confidence scoring from that era, but you're positioning it as applying to the quality of the output. That's a big mistake. That's like using my gas mileage on my car, which is a brutal 8 miles per gallon, and applying it to my mom's hybrid, right? Like, you don't need that meter. Like, nobody cares. So I think, probably a bad example there, but I'm just saying, like, there's no need for this confidence scoring. It's a legacy rating. People are asking for it. So competitors are delivering it, but you
Yep.
could just ditch it and nothing would change. It would actually improve the experience.
Yeah, we're going to get over the fact that you're ruining the environment, George, with your car. But we're going to go right into what do you think people need to be using to then give a confidence score on their response?
I'll tell you what we do at OneUp. Do you want to hear that?
Yeah, yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah, OneUp has a completeness rating where
Okay.
OneUp, after conducting its final self assessment, determines if the question being asked is getting a full answer, partial answer, or if it's just completely unanswered. That's a very binary system. That's a very easy kind of, it either is or is not an answer, or maybe it's partially an answer. That's a totally different way of classifying answers. That's not on a scale. It's not on a scoring system. It doesn't rely on a legacy method. And it also doesn't assess the quality of an answer, right? It simply says the thing that I gave you might not be great at all, but the content of it at least addresses all parts of this question. So I think we've had positive experience with it. And our customers have told us like the completeness rating is very useful because it just tells them where they need to spend a little more time.
Yeah, it's more objective. And I'm moving away from just features in general. A lot of the people who are listening to this are working in proposal teams in some manner. And so obviously our every single go to market role is changing. Like we're not special here. But I'm wondering if you're seeing a certain skill set that is helping them become more relevant now or things that they should be working on now for the future to be relevant in our marketing and sales teams.
The people who are good Googlers are running the show now. If you could Google foo really well, you
Yeah.
are now the AI person or knowledge engineer or whatever you want to call it. Because I think these folks had or have a really good understanding of search. And when you're talking to a chatbot or if you're inputting an RFP for automation, if you think about it from the level of like, I'm about to Google 1,000 things at once, I think that's a mindset that gives them an advantage. So I don't think it's something technical. I don't think it's even something like industry related. People who were good Googlers are actually getting a ton out of these systems. And people who ask others to Google for you, you know where they end up. They're dissatisfied, they're confused, they don't understand the results they got, and they defer to someone else.
So do you think then it's about curiosity and being able to just find things and figure things out essentially?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Good Googlers, they're skeptical of the results. They look at the sources, they look at multiple sources. They just know how to research, right? And
Yeah.
this is like a personification of that in the AI. Let me ask you a question. Are the best proposal writers the best writers? Are they the
No.
best researchers? What do you think?
No, I think it's the people who are really good at saying what the customer needs to hear and wants to hear, specifically like the champion to be able to sell to whoever the executive buyers, the economic buyers. Like if you can get what that is and give them the leverage to give to that person, that to me is the best one. But that comes with research. You're not going to know that unless you've done the googling or whatever it is that you need to know uh, within and with outside the company. Obviously, you have already founded a company. OneUp is not your first, and so I'm curious, like what you've learned from your last company. What's something that you learned to not do?
I would say a majority of my learnings were things not to do. Like, I don't
That's
know how much
fair.
time do you have. Let me like contextualize it in a particular from a founder's perspective, from a product perspective. Like, what are you curious about?
Let's do it from like a go to market perspective.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, here's a hot take. Nobody cares about your product. Stop talking about your product. The people listening to this, you get pitched RFP tools. Since the time I've started talking, you've probably received 3 pitches in your inbox, right? Do you care about any of those products? The answer is probably no. Nobody cares about your product. The American consumer and more broadly the global consumer, they have an affinity for branding, messaging, feeling, and they like when people understand their problem. So I think the real insight, the real like GTM kind of aha moment is if you spend more time talking about the problem and you spend more time messaging to these people as human beings and less time pitching, your new feature, who like, come on, dude, no one cares that you added like another button that does like an export in like 3 formats. Like, who cares about that, right? Like, my point is like these people you're trying to GTM to, they're people, and people are attracted to branding, feeling, messaging, and relatability around their problems. The more time you spend talking about the problem without positioning your own product, the better. I'll tell you just like one small example. You read these blog posts from a lot of these companies that talk about the problem space, right? Do not most of them pitch their own product in the blog post?
Oh yeah.
Why is that the point? Why is that the point? Like, if the
No
point
idea.
of every blog post is to pitch your own product, you're going to lose credibility at some point while the user's reading, man.
Yeah.
I think like that's one thing we try to do is sometimes like you can show your product, you can take screenshots, you can even say products like XYZ, right? But stop pitching your product, talk about the problem. Because if they resonate with you on the problem, they're actually going to give you more credibility, and that's going to deduct credibility and mental mindshare from other brands that are just flooding their inbox and their LinkedIn with like new features. Come on, man. Like, who
Yeah.
cares? So, yeah, that's my take on the GTM side.
Do you think that makes it so that the branding is more important in these responses? Or do you think that just doesn't really matter and it's only with the background brand?
Let's pretend for a moment that when you submit your proposal, it's an AI reading it. Does
Okay.
the branding matter?
No,
Does the template, the design matter?
no. Well, maybe it depends what you put in there that the AI can read.
Yeah, of
If
course.
it's
Listen,
an
it's got to be
image.
legible for a
But yeah.
machine. Yeah, but does it matter if you're putting nice images and branding there? Like, it's that Matrix moment. Like, you think that's air you're breathing? Like, do you think a human is reading the 300-page proposal you just wrote? What we're seeing, and this is actually in our tool, we see this more often. A lot of these RFPs being generated and submitted for you to fill out, or whoever's listening to this, they're already AI slop.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They're AI
No, you're
generated,
right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the assumption should be that, hey, you're getting something made by an AI. It's probably going to be reviewed by an AI. 'Cause You,
Oh
you,
yeah.
you
No,
can
I agree.
imagine like 50 of these things coming in at once to the customer, right? Why wouldn't they automate the review process, right?
No, definitely.
Yeah. So to your point, it's like as a proposal manager, you're putting all this time and effort into making something beautiful. And I know you care about that because I look at your website, your branding, you have a very like a specific aesthetic you care about, there's taste, right? But like to the proposal person, I would argue that spending a little more time focusing on the problem that's attempting to be solved and showing a proficiency around that problem, you want to get high scores from a machine. You don't
Oh, sure.
necessarily want the machine to be like, wow, this is colorful.
So I have two questions that come off of that.
Uh-huh.
So when we are writing, and we know that procurement is, of course, using AI to review, but then what do you think we need to be doing to make sure that AI is getting the right stuff to then evaluate it really high?
I think these systems have a similarity between them. You can imagine 10 proposals that you and I submit tomorrow, 10 AI systems on the other end are going to be grading them. There's going to be a similarity between the way they read, interpret, even among the different models, right? Even if the questions the customer is asking, what are they? How well does this meet our requirements? What are some gaps? Where did they fail, right? So I think in this era, that grading is going to be really distilled down to feature gaps. I hate to say it, but
No, it's
feature
gotta know.
gaps are going to make a comeback because it's no longer a human reading and getting a gut feeling like, yeah, they don't do this, but they do that. Now it's an AI going, brother, they don't do this. Like you told me to check if they do this and they don't. So I hate the idea of this, but feature gaps are really coming back. That means you got to be really proficient in how you massage features you don't have, the way you say you're going to deliver them. Don't shoot me for saying that, but feature gaps are back, and I think you're going to have to do a better job of massaging it because if you've got 10 AIs grading this thing, they're going to really just check what your gaps are. They're not going to grade you on vibes or branding or
Yeah.
anything like that. I'm sorry to say.
No, I think it's better to be honest than to say like what's worked in the past. And I think that's the problem is that a lot of us are still like going by like the book of best practice from 5 years ago, which is just not going to serve us going forward. I know like obviously with AEC it's going to be still really important, but for like tech specifically software, if branding isn't important anymore, do you think anybody is seeing that at all, or do you think it's still important when you get to the short list, like when they do check the executive summary and the pricing pages, like what is your suggestion there? Like what do you think?
You know me, I love branding. Like
Yeah, you have the best branding out
I'm
there.
a big proponent of it. I got this guy with me everywhere I go. I love branded content that even if no one reads, it's not for them, it's for you. You feel good sending it. Your AE feels good sending an exec summary with your logo and your colors and your font. If it's
Yeah.
in Calibri, throw it in the trash, bro. Put
Iris.
the right font on there. Like, this drives me insane. That probably
Yeah.
does you too. But even if a human's not reading that, you're not doing the branding for them. It's a consistency for yourself and for your company. And that's the face of your company. And if you do win, somebody's going to read that, right? So, what I would say is two pieces of advice. One, respond in a manner that's legible for machines, not humans. Assume it's machines reading it. But two,
Yeah.
include elements of that response. It's not a plain text file you're sending, right? Give it to them in the format they asked for, add a spin to it, add videos if you can, add some images and screenshots. It's not going to hurt anyone. I mean, branded like cover sheets are one thing, but like I encourage people, I'm like, yo, put videos in your responses. We're adding image answers. That's something I'm really excited about. Put images in your responses. Like, there's a lot there that can improve upon like a really plain experience.
Yeah.
And colors, fonts go a long way.
Let's say, George, that people are interested in learning more about you, interested in learning more about OneUp. Maybe they just want to see some nice memes, some nice branding. Where can they find you? Where can they
Yeah,
learn more about you?
don't go to our website. Don't look at our product. Go to our LinkedIn and you will get a new meme every day and you will be happy. It will give you something to waste time on. All right. Like, I don't need you signing up for our trial. Like, if you want dank memes delivered for GTM teams, go follow one up on LinkedIn right now. We also have an Instagram, crushing quota. You're going to get a new meme every day. You're going to love it. And you're going to forget about the misery that is selling in 2025 or 26 or whatever it is that you do.
I will link all of those below, including your Instagram. But I would suggest for everybody to check out their website, check out their free trial because you're gonna know instantly if you like it or not, if it works for you or not. But also, you have a really good blog post that is just full of memes as well.
Thank you.
George, it was lovely to speak with you today, and we'll talk soon.
Yes, I had a lot of fun. Thank you for this. And I hope you do this again, man. This was a lot of fun.